everyone, thank you for joining me today and thank you for signing up for my newsletter. I am forever grateful for all of your support in classes and online, and I'm very happy for you to join me today. So today we're going to do a gentle yoga flow. It's suitable for beginners as well as advanced yogis or advanced yogis. So today we're going to need 2 blocks for our practice. If you don't have blocks, you can always use books, or if you don't have blocks, don't worry too much about it. But I do recommend doing this practice on a yoga mat because we are going to be standing for some of it. So you are going to need that grip underneath the feet, just for safety purposes. I'm going to start sitting down today. So find some position that you feel comfortable in. So if sitting cross-legged isn't comfortable, then feel free to come to any seated position that you want. It doesn't have to be cross-legged. An option to place a cushion or block underneath the hips to get that height in the tailbone. It makes lengthening the spine slightly easier because it opens up the hips. And then start to explore the feeling of having the eyes closed. Perhaps taking a couple of deep breaths in through the nose and release through the mouth. Maybe making an ah sound as you release to soften any tension that may have built up in the jaw and the neck area, perhaps even the shoulders. Lovely. And then just allowing the breath to return to its natural state. So the air flows freely in and out of the nostrils, perhaps even noticing the temperature of the air entering and exiting the nostrils. And again, using the breath as a hook to start becoming curious about what's going on for you in your internal environment. See what's going on, check in with yourself. How do you feel in the body physically? How are you feeling emotionally? And holding whatever's coming up. So rather than getting into this kind of habit of labeling things good or bad or something in between, or kind of these judgments and comments that we constantly make in our minds, just allow yourself to hold whatever surfaces in a really compassionate way. So the type of compassion that you would offer to somebody that you love or somebody that you're particularly fond of. So really giving that sense of compassion for yourself. And using this information, this awareness as a tool for your practice, so doing as much or as little as your body needs. I'm starting to take some deeper breaths, inviting the breath to move out of this upper body, so out of the chest and the shoulders, down towards the lower belly and this pelvis or pelvic bowl. Starting to start this deep belly breathing. And then on your next exhale, gently blinking eyes open. And then tilting head from side to side. So we're going to start with really small micro movements here. So it might even be barely perceptible to the outside eye. So really, really slow, gentle, short movements from side to side. And if it feels comfortable for you, then you can start taking the head into slightly more deeper stretches throughout each side of the neck. So the ear drops down towards the shoulder. Finding that opening throughout each side of the neck. Lovely. And then on your next exhale, gently dropping the chin towards the chest. So start to feel this openness throughout the back of the neck. Maybe even the tension start to glide down the back if it's held in the shoulder blades. And then gently bringing those hands to interlace, place them on the back of the skull. Allow the elbows to drop together. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, relax the jaw. Moving with the breath. Inhale, gently radiate heart forwards as you open up the elbows, perhaps even gently cradling the head in towards the hands. And then exhale, start to round through the upper back. The elbows drop together as the chin drops towards the chest. Inhale, gently leaning heart forwards, open through the elbows, a sense of opening on the inhalation. And then exhale, round through the spine, draw everything back. Chin drops towards the chest. Lovely, using your own breath now. So feel free to kind of go into your own flow here. So in all my classes, as you may know if you've attended, I tend to encourage people to really stay with your own breath. So it might be faster or slower than mine, and that's okay. We're all in different states every day, depending on so many different circumstances. Start to really listening to what your body needs, deep listening. Lovely. And then coming up to a neutral spine position, so finding this natural organization of the spine. Now the elbows to drop wide, and we've explored frontwards and backwards. Now we're going to explore side to side. So in the inhalation, dropping left elbow towards the mat, and then exhale, coming back to center. Inhale, right elbow drops towards the mat. Exhale brings you back to center. Lovely. Keep the elbows wide, the shoulders dropped away from the ears, and the jaw nice and soft. So maintaining the space at the back of the teeth. So jaw is relaxed, soft. And allow your breath to kind of just settle into its own pace and rhythm. Lovely. And taking one more deep breath in. Finding that opening throughout the side body. And then exhale, come back to center, gently softening the gaze and taking any movements, free movements here in the spine. So you might find that you start to make some hip circles, maybe dropping the elbows, following through the heart, and then radiating heart forwards, opening up through the elbows. So see what you need today. Often we get stuck into these kind of rigid patterns in our practice where we're just used to doing inhale to do this and exhale to do that. And really it feels quite nice to explore our full range of motion and just move in any way that our bodies feel like moving. So again, this sense of deep listening, holding ourselves, responding to what our body really needs. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, separate the hands, bring them either side of the hips. Take a couple of shoulder rolls here. So as you inhale, bring the shoulders up towards the ears. Allow them to melt them down the back. A couple more of these if you need. Dexter's feeling a bit needy today, so you might see him around the mat. Lovely. And then gently placing the block to one side if you've got a block underneath you. Make your way onto hands and knees, however you want. Bringing wrists underneath shoulders, knees beneath hips. Sorry, Dexy, I'm just going to move you here just a bit forwards. Lovely. Take a moment to really spread the fingers wide. So options here to keep the toes tucked, if that feels more comfortable, We can bring the backs of the feet to rest on the mat. So see which one feels more natural for you. Keeping a little micro bend in the elbows. So notice if your heart feels like dropping down, press through the hands, allow the shoulder blades to melt away from the ears. And then moving with the breath, inhale, dropping belly low, lift up through the chest, curl tailbone up. Exhale, dome through the spine, drop chin towards chest. Inhale, ripple through the spine, sticking tailbone up. Exhale, tucking the tailbone in as you dome, coming in back into this protective shell. Lovely. So using a couple more breaths, you can stay in between these two postures, or if you want to, you can kind of take it into your own flow here. So feel free to make some hip circles, maybe rocking forwards, rocking backwards. Maybe making some circles with the head and the shoulders if you need. One more deep breath in. And exhale, back to center. Lovely, guys. We're going to take the knees as wide as the mat, or as wide as comfortable for you. Bring the big toes to touch at the back and start sitting back on towards the heels. Bring the forehead down towards the mat. And if the forehead doesn't reach, feel free to stack the palms and then rest the head on the palms. Let's take a couple of breaths here. I'm just going to move Dexter out of the way so he doesn't get in the way for the next exercise. It's okay, Dexy, you can stay there. And tuning into the pace and rhythm of the breath. Lovely. And then on your next inhale, snake the heart forwards, sink the pelvis, lift up through the heart, slide shoulders away from the ears. And then exhale, maintaining a contact between the big toes. Slowly start sitting back on towards the heels, coming back into your wide-legged child's pose. Lovely. The breath in, bringing torso and heart forwards, sink pelvis, lift through heart. And then exhale, ripple the spine back. Lovely. A couple more breaths like this, using your own breath as a guide. And notice when you come forward, if there's kind of like this jutting out, sticking out of the chin. So try and keep the chin tucked, so we want to avoid that compression throughout the back of the neck. Find your own flow here, rocking forwards and backwards. Beautiful. And then on your next inhale, slowly settle hips, tummy, chest on the mat, and then separate the legs here. I'm just going to make my way onto the mat so my head can rest on the mat. You might need to shuffle your way back. And then open up the arms, so kind of coming into a star shape. Lengthen the legs out. And we're going to explore some cross-lateral stretches here, so finding that stretch throughout the diagonal planes of the body. So as you inhale, left arm lifts as right leg lifts. Find a little lift, squeeze the bum. And then exhale, slowly bring that hand and the leg down. Lovely. Inhale, right arm lifts, left leg lifts. Exhale, gently placing the back down. Lovely. So find your own flow here and a sense of them, the hand and the leg kind of reaching away from each other rather than just up. Inhale, finding some lifting, lengthening. Exhale with control, placing the limbs back down. Congruency of left and right brain. One more time each side. Lovely, guys. And then settling the whole of the body on the mat, Bring the hands behind you, either side of the hips, so fingertips reaching behind you. As you inhale, press the lower belly and the pubic bone into the mat. You might find a natural lift of the chest and the shoulders. You can stay here if you want to. You've got option to modify and point through the toes, lift up through the legs. Option to stay here, or if you want to, you can reach the arms off the mat, kind of coming into your full locust pose here. Take a deep breath in. Head and feet reaching away from each other. One more deep breath in. Exhale, bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Slowly making your way into your first downward facing dog. So tucking the toes. Hover the knees off the mat, send tailbone high towards the ceiling. And then taking a couple of free movements here. So feel free to pedal out through the feet, perhaps shaking the head from side to side. Maybe even shifting the heels from side to side if that feels nice. So let it be really exploratory here, so see what you need today, knowing that there's not really any wrong or right here, so really up to you. Remembering to breathe, spread through the upper back. One more breath in here. And then exhale, start to bend the knees, look towards the top of your mat, and baby step the feet up towards the hands. So kind of taking a little mini walk up towards the top of your mat. Once you're there, take the feet to hip distance apart. Bend the legs, so really generously bend the legs as much as you can. And then draping the whole of the upper body down. Bring the elbows to perhaps take a hold of each other, and then a gentle sway from side to side if that feels nice. And some people even like to bob the upper body up and down. If that feels good, feel free to do so. So just finding whatever feels good for you here. Release through the jaw, finding some softness across the skin, across the forehead. Lovely. And then on your next exhale, releasing those hands. Bend the knees, root down through the feet. Start rolling yourself all the way back up. So nice and slow. Pull up through the inner thighs. Stacking vertebrae. Finding again that natural organisation of the spine. Lovely. And once you're there, bring the shoulders up towards the ears. Allow them to melt down the back. Beautiful. Take a moment here. So you've been upside down for a while. It might take a couple of seconds just to reset. So making sure you're not dizzy. Bring the hands to rest on the lower belly, feet about hip distance apart. And we're just going to gently take some hip circles here. So if I was mirroring you, I'd be doing this, gently bringing the hips to one side. Doesn't matter which side you go. And then as you exhale, bringing the hips forwards and back around again. So again, notice if I've said hip circles and your body kind of goes into its full range of motion straight away. So we want to kind of pull back from here. So this notion of doing less. So explore doing less. It's easy to kind of go into this full extent of flexibility straight away. Yeah, it's really easy to do that. It's easy to get injured, but it takes a lot more focus, attention, and awareness to really pull back, listen to what your body needs, and respond accordingly. And then pausing and changing direction. You might find your weight starts to shift from foot to foot, from side to side. Just exploring the distribution of the weight in between both feet. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, come back to center. Lovely. Close the eyes if you need. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go through the mouth. Lovely. Coming back towards the top of your mat. Take the feet slightly closer together. You can have the big toes touching, heels slightly apart. As you inhale, reaching both arms up overhead, soften the shoulders, palms about shoulder distance apart. And then exhale, start sitting back into your chair pose. It's almost like you're sitting back onto a baby chair or a kid's chair. Squeeze the thighs together, take a look down at the feet. If you can't see the toes, sitting back a little bit further. Take a nice big breath in here. Exhale, gently bring in the hands to reach behind you. So palms still facing each other. And moving in between these two postures. So as you inhale, root down through the feet, lift and lengthen, reaching arms overhead, optional back bend. And then exhale, start sitting back into your chair, swing the arms like a pendulum, reaching them back. Inhale, lift and lengthen, gently tilting head and upper body back. Exhale, sitting back into your chair. So really gentle, slow movements here. Start to cultivate awareness to the little movements in between the big movements. Keeping that tone in that lower belly. One more deep breath in. Lift, lengthen, energy opens up, and then exhale, coming back into your protective shell, sitting back into your chair. Lovely. This time as you inhale, stay in your chair pose, reach both arms up overhead. Start shifting weight into your right foot as you inhale. And then exhale, take a big step back with that left foot. Lovely. Coming to the ball of the left foot, back heel is lifted. Coming into your high lunge. So if you need to, you can bring the hands on towards the hips. Just start to stabilize yourself first. Making sure you're keeping committed to this lunge at the front. So often I see kind of this straightening of the leg happen, which puts a lot of weight and tension on the back leg and back ankle. So making sure we're staying committed in this lunge forwards, reaching both arms high. Take a nice big breath in. Exhale here. Lovely, guys. As you inhale, bowing the spine forward. So it's just hovering above the front thigh, reaching both arms back. Exhale, come back up to center, reaching arms high. Inhale to bow the spine. Exhale, lift and lengthen. Lovely, 2 more times. Using your own breath to set the pace and the rhythm. Lovely, guys. This time as you inhale, bring both hands to frame the front foot or fingertips. Take your time here. Lower back knee, untuck back toe. Beautiful. So if you've been to my classes, you know what's coming up. I always like to talk about this alignment. So just making sure your knee isn't overshooting your ankle. So if your knee is anything like mine, you might need to heel toe that right foot forward. And again, this is really important to protect your knee joint, and we really want to protect our knees and our knees and elbows. So please, please, please bring the knee in line with the ankle. Lovely. And then bring fingertips either side of the foot, the front foot, or you can bring blocks to frame your front foot. If you've got blocks, it just gives you a little bit of lift here. And then start to take some free movements here. So perhaps making some hip circles, rocking forwards, rocking backwards, maybe even straightening the front leg and sinking the pelvis forwards. So often we kind of get used to just moving forwards and backwards. You know, have you ever heard that saying, if you're not moving forwards, you're just going back or backwards or something like that? So we kind of get obsessed or infatuated by this, we must be progressing and kind of going forwards, when really there is time to kind of explore what's side to side of you, yeah? It's safe to do so. So start to explore that side body. Lovely. And then coming back to center as you inhale, lift up through the chest, sink pelvis. Exhale, walk the blocks back, or if you haven't got blocks, walk the fingertips back. Start to straighten the front leg. Lovely. I always like to use blocks because they really help me get more comfortable in positions. But if you don't have blocks, don't worry too much. So picking the sole of that right foot up, toes pointing towards the ceiling. Feel that back of the leg start to stretch out. Take a nice big breath in here. Exhale here. If you haven't got blocks, just using fingertips. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. And then moving with the breath. Inhale, sinking pelvis. Lift up through the arms, coming into your full low lunge. Exhale, bow the spine forwards, bring the hands to frame the front foot. Walk fingertips or slide them back straight in the front leg. Lovely, so all in one motion. Inhale, lift, lunge forwards. Exhale, bow the spine. Say hello to your right hamstrings. So a couple more breaths. You set the pace, your breath. So really bringing the mind where the body is and bringing the body where the breath is. So the breath leads the movement, the body follows, and the mind kind of adjusts accordingly. One more deep breath in. Exhale here. Lovely, guys. This time, bringing the hands to frame the front foot. Make our way into our high lunge. So tuck the back toe, lift back knee. Maybe heel toe back foot forward slightly. Gain stability with the feet. Lifting up to high lunge for one deep breath in. And then exhale, hands on towards the hips. Pivot back, heel down. Turn the body all the way over towards the left-hand side. So we're going to set up for our warrior two on this side. So front foot facing forwards. Back foot parallel to the back of the mat. As you inhale, bring the arms out to a T. Exhale, lunging into that front leg. Coming into your strong warrior. And just noticing if you're leaning forward. So often this is kind of like leaning, reaching, again, this forwards kind of thinking. Bring these shoulders back so they're in line with the hips. Relax shoulders away from the ears. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, rooting down through the feet, almost like your feet are tearing the mat in half. And then moving with the breath. Inhale, straighten both legs, straighten front leg, reaching both arms up. And then exhale, lunging forward, strong warrior. Your own breath sets the pace. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lunge. So making all these movements really slow and meditative, pardon me. Almost like you're wading through honey. Best way that I can describe it. Lovely. On your next inhale, flip the front hand, reach forwards. Exhale, reverse that warrior. Reaching the right fingertips back, finding that stretch throughout that side body. Take a deep breath in here. And then exhale, coming back to a warrior two, straighten the front leg. Lovely. We're going to heel toe the back foot in slightly and turn the heel out and the toes in. Turning both hips first. So squaring both hips forwards and then take a gentle fold over the front leg. Lovely. So we're going to make our way into our Trikonasana from here, but slightly different. So you might not have done this variation before. As you inhale, bring that left hand to rest on the lower back. Exhale, slowly rotating heart towards the sky. Lovely. And then on your next exhale, bring that right hand to rest on the back of the head. So this is your Trikonasana, slightly different variation here. So you can really feel those muscles in the hips, in the thighs, and the waist start to really work here. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. Squeeze the bum. And then you can come into your full Trikonasana for a couple of breaths here. Try and keep the jaw nice and soft. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, start to look down at your front foot. Slowly bring both hands to frame the front foot. Rotate to the ball of the back foot. And then getting ready to shift the weight forwards. So usually when I do this, I like to take a couple of rocks forwards and backwards first, just to get used to weight shifting forwards and backwards. And then when you're ready, press down through that right foot, bring that left foot to meet the right, and gently roll up through the spine. Beautiful. Once you reach all the way to the top, bring the shoulders up towards the ears. So I'm just going to turn around here, so I'm going to be mirroring you. As you inhale, shifting weight into your right foot, picking up that left leg. So again, I'm mirroring you, that's why I'm doing the opposite leg. Find some buoyancy with that standing leg first. So really getting used to shifting the weight into one foot. And then bring the hands towards a cactus position and start to open up that left hip. So just taking any free movements here, opening up the hip and then coming back, and then maybe exploring some of the space in front of you, maybe even the space behind you. You can keep it really small, so you can be here, or if you want to open it up nice and wide, feel free to do whatever feels good here. So often in balancing poses, we're so used to kind of holding one static balance that sometimes it's kind of easier to balance once you're moving, kind of building muscle memory. One more deep breath in here. And then exhale, bring that foot down. Slowly shift weight from foot to foot, just to reset, rooting down through the earth. And then coming into our tree pose here. So shifting weight into the right foot, pick up that left leg, open up that left hip, and bring the sole of that foot in towards the thigh, the calf, or keeping toes on the floor. See what works for you. Bring the prayer hands to chest. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, rooting down through the foot. So imagine your foot is kind of growing its roots, just like a tree would, really anchoring you down. Using that support to stay stable. And if you feel like falling, yeah, just fall out of the pose. Even if you kind of want to know what it feels like to fall, go ahead. Just letting go of this expectation that we need to balance for like 5 minutes. When do we ever really need to do that in real life? Never. So just have a bit of fun. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, closing up that left hip, release that foot down, and then take a couple of shakes out through the feet, through the legs. Lovely. And then turn around and make your way onto your other side of the mat. So you're just taking a walk back here. Bring the feet to about big toes touching, not hip distance apart, big toes touching, heels slightly apart. And then we're going to do all of that on the other side now. So just first resetting the breath, close the eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Lovely, moving with the breath. Inhale, reaching both arms up, shoulder distance apart. Exhale, sink into your chair, your Utkatasana. Squeeze thighs together. Sitting back a little bit further. Start to lengthen the spines down. So there is gentle kind of rotation of the pelvis downwards to lengthen through the spine. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, reaching both arms towards the back of the room. Inhale here, exhale here. Moving with the breath. Inhale, lift and lengthen, reaching both arms high. Exhale, sitting back into your chest. Swing the arms like a pendulum, but keeping the fingertips a little bit engaged. So you're not kind of just swinging the arms upwards and forwards. It's kind of conscious movement here. Optional back bend when you come up. One more deep breath in, lift and lengthen. Exhale, sitting back into your chair. Lovely, staying in your chair pose. Inhale, reaching both arms up, soften shoulders away from the ears. And then exhale, shifting weight into your left foot. Pick up that right leg. Take a big, slow motion step back. Lovely. So if you're here and you're like, whoa, feeling a bit wobbly, feel free to readjust. So often we stay in these patterns where it's like, if we put our foot down there, that's it. We can't move it. Yeah, so that's not necessarily the case. So move around, shuffle around, find what feels good for you, find what feels stable. And once you feel stable, reaching both arms up. Keep committed to that lunge. Press through the heel of the ball of the back foot. Moving with the breath. Inhale, reaching fingertips back, bowing the spine down. Exhale, re-lunge. Breathing in. Exhale to lift and lengthen. Using your own breath as a guide, the chest can just hover above the thighs. It doesn't need to go too far here. Beautiful. One more deep breath in. Exhale, coming back into your high lunge. Lovely. Bring both hands to frame the front foot. Gently place the knee down. Untuck back toe. And again, making sure that your knee is in line with your ankle. Heel toeing that foot forwards. And just taking any free movements here. So rocking forwards, rocking backwards. Finding some mobility through that hip joint. Start to notice what's going on with your mind. So maybe some thoughts, some judgments, some comments start to pop up. Whatever it is, just notice. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is you're feeling. And then returning back to the breath. Bring yourself back to this current moment. And then on your next inhale, sink the pelvis, lift up through heart. Coming onto fingertips, option to use blocks. Exhale, walking fingertips or blocks back, start to straighten the front leg. Now, just as a kind of comfort, this wasn't one of my favorite stretches either. So it's because normally in daily life, my hamstring's quite tight. So if you're feeling like this is a little bit not for you, don't worry, it's totally natural. Just stay committed to the practice, stay committed to the breath. Picking up the sole of that foot, so toes point towards the ceiling, feeling that opening up through the back of the leg. Lovely, guys. And then moving with the breath. On the next in-breath, sink into your lunge, lift up through the arms, radiate heart forwards. Exhale, gently bowing the spine down, walking fingertips back, straighten the front leg. Inhale, sinking pelvis, lift up through heart. Exhale, folding forwards. Hamstring stretch. One more like this. Lovely, beautiful.